Good day, fellow geeks. On this week's Geeks of Azeroth, the character creation armor is coming to Warlords of Draenor, Blizzard's looking into eSports for World of Warcraft, and Chinese subscription fees are going up, plus a lot more in this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth. Hello, welcome to the show. My name's Tarly, and with me are the two suspects that usually appear with me every week. We've got, Britza, TC McElroy, Tom. I still don't know what to call you.
Yeah,
but you're here.
I'll go with Britza. Let's try it. Let's try
Just keep
a
that
new
regular.
format.
Britza. All right.
Let's
We've
go
got
with
Britza, and in the top right corner we've got Zool. Do a dance, Zool.
Dance.
Woo!
Well, let's start off with talking about how everybody's weeks in Azeroth were. We'll start with you, Zool.
I didn't have really much time in Azeroth. My computer decided to kind of blow up on me during the week.
Oh no.
Luckily, it was just the power supply. Totally fried itself, but that was one of the scariest things ever. I'm just sitting at my computer. Screen goes black to the sounds of pops and the smell of burning electronics.
Ooh.
I had a heart
tasty.
attack. I look down. I'm like, okay, there's no flames coming out of anywhere. That's good, first off. The power strip is still on, so it wasn't that. I take the side off my computer. Everything looked fine. So I figured it was the power supply. So I went and I bought a power supply and quickly just, hooked it up on the outside of the case just to see if that was it. And the computer turned on totally fine. So I just took out the old power supply, put in the new one, and everything's good to go. That scared the crap out of me, and that took up most of my day off this week.
Aw.
And then besides that, I've been spending my time in another game full of different orcs.
Oh, yes, indeed. Possibly in another cinematic universe that exists,
Yes.
with swords and elves and orcs
Yep.
and dragons.
Yeah.
We don't discuss such matters, Mordor.
But so that's been my kind of week.
How about you, Britza?
Playing another game. Oh well. No, mine's. To be honest, I think, in a way, what you've just said all kind of relates to what I'm about to say, which is I've had what can only be described as the groundhog experience in WoW, and I think everyone's getting that now. We are 5 weeks away from Warlords, a little over a month, not very long now, and
But that means the pre-expansion is really soon then.
Soon.
very soon. And that's the thing. I think we're so close now. Every time you log in, it's a bit like Groundhog Day. You are doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's like muscle memory. It's log on. You click all the LFR buttons just because you probably need something. You go straight to the Timeless Isle. You do your Celestials, do your Autos quick. Then you log out. You log into the new character, rinse and repeat until you've hit all your characters for the week. And then you might do some vanilla raiding. That's literally my schedule, it seems. So I point you to the previous episode. That's all I can do, really. But no, not it's good. There's certainly a lot of activity going around, and people are doing fun sort of those vanilla raids, getting the achievements that seem to be disappearing. Then the Hall of Thunder treasure room's going to be going soon. So that if you want that, you've got to get that. So really, in a sense, it seems like Blizzard's inadvertently set time trials for everyone. That there's a lot of stuff that you need to get now if you ever want to get it. So really, it's furiously busy in there, but only if you're after certain things.
I myself, everybody at my work location kind of passed around a sickness this week. So I got it for the last half of this week, so I got to spend a lot of time at home playing Mordor, and also playing some WoW. Getting some PvP done because that's all really you can do, as well as doing all the Celestials and whatnot. But it's really getting me pumped. I'm really excited for 6.0 to drop and just feel all those changes. But yeah, it's been another boring week in Azeroth. Not as far as announcements go. There's always something new coming out every week.
Setting up the show, great there. It's been really boring, but
Segues are weird. World of Warcraft shows off the dungeons of Warlords of Draenor. No,
Near enough.
Blizzard this week showed off a cool little post about every dungeon that's coming in Warlords of Draenor. Just a little preview of each one of them. Are there any ones that you guys are particularly excited about?
I think the same one a lot of people are, which is the Grimrail Depot, the one on the moving train.
Mm-hmm.
That one just looks really cool, and it's, different than stuff they've done before.
Yeah, I wish there was a picture on this little blog post that they have, but that one also seems so exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
a moving train as a dungeon. That's if you fall off, you're dead. It's cool.
Is that what actually happens? Can you fall off?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's cool.
That's going to happen a lot, like mages blinking off and monks rolling off and
Huntards disengaging off.
just like you see like a little zone, pop up, like the little telegraph of an attack, and half the dungeon team just off the sides trying to get out of the way.
That sounds really cool. I like that. I'm just having a glimpse through now. I think I've seen a lot of Shadow Moon Burial Grounds in the beta, the streamers for the beta. So in a way, I feel like, not that it's been spoiled, not the excitement hasn't been spoiled, but I feel like I'm less interested in that one. But I would say if I had to pick one that I'm really interested in, I'm going to go with the Iron Docks. And just because I want to see, if you can fall off a train in Grimrail, I want to see what they're doing with submarines. That would be amazing. So fingers crossed. But then again, for once, we're actually getting some level 100 dungeons.
Yeah.
Which is going to be cool.
I really hope Blizzard keeps up with 5-man content this expansion, releasing it as regularly as they do other content.
Yeah.
Keeps it
I
interesting.
really enjoy dungeons a lot.
Have they talked about scenarios at all for Warlords of Draenor? Because as far as I've noticed, I have not seen anything about scenarios.
They've pretty much said that they're just built into the leveling experience now.
So they're just
like,
those single-player ones then.
Yeah, like you don't queue for it. They just happen. Like you're leveling, and it's like you get to an event, and then you're in it, and then you're back out. It just phases you in and out automatically. And they're scenarios.
Okay.
Phased questing effectively.
Pretty much.
Sounds pretty cool. Does that mean they're a one-time only thing?
Well, I don't.
Seems
Good
like
question.
it, possibly.
Maybe you can always go back and talk to the person, kind of like you go talk to, I don't know, the guy who, what's that arena thing, where you can queue up and kill things for a medal. Proving grounds.
The
Proving grounds.
I'm just blanking out here.
The thing that you have to do in Warlords.
Yes, to do any dungeons. But yeah, back to dungeons. I'm actually really excited for redone Ubers. I'm excited to see how that looks, and we'll get to play it in 6.0, so that'll be cool. But every single one of the dungeons, like, I don't know, their whole art style just seems better. And they have like a storyline to them again. That's what I always loved about Cataclysm's dungeons. You always felt like you had a purpose with them.
I think it's tapping into a lot of that BC nostalgia. I mean, I know we've talked about that in various different ways, but still, I think once we're all inside, we're going to start to really feel like we're back in the old style WoW, but with a new coat of paint. And that's what I'm really looking forward to, is because I loved BC. So sort of seeing those, like, the Auction Dune, the Burial Grounds, even though I've seen a lot of it already. Just that style.
Rehash,
yeah. I'm really looking forward to the rehash stuff. That's the best. Rehash and eggs.
Yeah, are there any dungeons that you have like a problem with, or any of you guys have a problem with? Because I mean, as far as I can tell, none of them look bad. They all look pretty interesting to me. And nothing really seems rehashed besides Ubers, but yeah.
I know they have to hide it. It's a shame they haven't got some sort of preview for the Everbloom. We've seen Grimrail, actually. No, because there's a video that was released, wasn't there, previewing them. So I guess we have kind of seen them in a way. But I I think with Upper Blackrock Spire, it's one of these ones where, because it's part of the preview event as well, it's going to be under a lot of scrutiny because it's going to be the first thing anyone sees.
Yeah.
And I think it has the potential to either reinvigorate people for Warlords who might have got really excited and then sort of peaked out a bit. But it could also cause a bit of controversy because, again, this is going to be the first bit of Warlords, really, that anyone sees, and it will be judged accordingly.
Well, let's hope it's done well then. And remember, the one we do in 6.0 is actually only half of it. You don't actually get the full dungeon.
Yes,
exactly.
That's true. You don't have all the bosses and everything.
Nor do you get the heroic mode, which apparently has some special things like resurrecting Leroy Jenkins. So, yeah, if they have stuff like that in each one of the new dungeons, that'd be really cool. Just like heroic little features that you can find. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and that would make it like, yeah, I want to check out the heroic version because there's these just neat little things.
Yeah.
It's all worth it.
All right, well, moving on from dungeons, something weird. I'm not quite sure why this is happening, but I actually just found out about it when I read the show notes this morning, in fact. Character Creation Armour is coming to Warlords of Draenor. Tom, why don't you explain this to us in a little bit more detail?
Well, effectively, I'm just trying to open the link, but my iPad doesn't want to do it. But anyways, effectively, we all have created characters post Pandaria, or at least looked at the character screens. And obviously, we would have noticed that when you create a character, it looks pretty cool. And you kind of get sold on the idea that the armor your guy's wearing could be the sort of armor you're going to wear when you get to level 90 and that sort of thing. However, the armor that you see at the character creation screen has never, ever been in the game. You cannot look like that, even remotely. And a lot of people have commented about it, and Blizzard have responded by saying that if in your garrison you build a salvage yard and you upgrade it to level 3, the salvage crates you receive from missions have a chance to contain that armor. And the crates as well will also potentially include some new weapon transmogs. But that's it, effectively, that the armor you see in the character creation screen can now be got in game, but only if you have a salvage yard at level 3.
So in my garrison, I'm pretty much going to get every single building that gives you transmog stuff. That's like what I'm going to go for. When I have choices to make, which one gives me transmog? I'm going to take it.
It's interesting. Is this a given? Because I'm in a similar position to you, Zor. I genuinely think this is probably the best thing that's come out of the whole garrison news in general. Because I love transmogging armor. It just, in a way, what could be more important than how your character looks? It's the thing everyone sees. No one sees your professions. No one sees, what your skinning levels and things like that. But people see what you look like. And
sometimes I don't know why I'm interested in transmog when my main is a druid. Because I'm always shape-shifted anyways.
That's true.
And yet I want the transmog.
Yeah.
If only you could be in cat form, but not be in cat form, like the Moonkins can be not in Moonkin form now. But I don't know, would they just be clawing at something?
Well, I mean, they have the new like cat person forms.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But there's no armor on those. You're just like in a loincloth.
You can choose your loincloth, maybe.
Transmog loincloths.
That would be so awesome.
Blizzard, do it.
What about you though, Tali? Would you think now of getting a salvage yard and doing it to level 3?
Probably not. Honestly, because transmog is not something that I really spend a lot of time on. I, for one, like to wear the gear that I get and not really transmog it unless it's really ugly, like, every Death Knight set. Thanks, Wizard. But...
yeah, that's a good point.
But generally, I like to just show off what I'm wearing because it's like, yeah, I'm fully PvP geared, look at my armor kind of a thing. As opposed to... Yeah, I ran BC or Black Temple 10 times. Now I have this blindfold over my eyes. I don't know.
So Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, if I really want something because it looks cool, I'd do it. But I don't know, this whole garrison thing is probably not something I'm going to build.
Do you think, and I worry that this won't actually be the case because it will kind of sell the salvage yard too much, but how would you feel in particular, Zol, if every expansion, the character creation armor changed? So it became almost like a seasonal thing,
That would be
and
really cool.
that's what you tapped into. That would be amazing.
Gotta collect them all.
You got to collect them all. That'd be brilliant. I mean, you'd have to create a similar collectible system for the other buildings potentially, but that's such an easy way to get people constantly invested back in the game because that's what WoW has been built on. Really, is the idea of reinvesting your time. So, Blizzard, build that. We've got great ideas for Blizzard, actually.
I don't know why they don't just hire the three of us to come work for them. I mean, it would make a lot of sense. Come on.
It would. It would make perfect sense.
Because all of our ideas are perfect. Like,
Yes.
we talked
We
about.
never have any idea that we're bad.
No, that relationship idea that we had for in-game needs to happen. And we could.
No comment.
But as far as like, is this something that was really needed or wanted in the game? It's not something I personally was even thinking was going to happen. But I mean, a lot of people who do care about Transmog are probably pretty excited about this. Like you said, Tom, this is like one of your favorite things coming out of the garrison. So.
I love it, but you're right. Effectively, we didn't need this. I think if no one had talked about this, it would have just been a very quiet topic in a forum somewhere for another year or two. But it's a great little thing.
Yep. And it's cool that they are adding just little things like, hey, you can have this if you want it. But personally, someone like me, I'm just going to get everything that's best for, my professions and getting gear as fast as I can and stuff like that. So.
And that's the thing to remember is that for everything you choose as a garrison option, you're not choosing something else. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
You can choose vanity over functionality in this case.
And there was a good point made. I can't remember where I heard this point, but it's like, if you're trying to do garrison stuff for gear, then you're playing it wrong. Because it's like, if you're a hardcore raider and you're trying to get gear as fast as you can, then doing the garrison is not going to benefit you. Because it's a long haul effort put in before you can even get some of that gear. It's for more of the casual people who play, and then they can get some good gear out of it. And apparently, and I just read about this recently, that there's a quest line that's going to be coming to your garrison. Every once in a while, it's like a rare quest chain that could pop up, it could not. But it will get you, when you complete it, it will get you one piece of gear higher, one tier higher than what tier you're currently running. I don't know how the game's going to figure that out. But if you're like a normal raider and then you get this mythical quest line, then you'll complete it and get a heroic piece of gear.
That'd be cool.
How does that work?
I imagine it's got to be done on average eye levels, and there'll be bands. So in this case, take the old system. If your average eye level was 529, then you would get, you're in above the LFR bracket. No, you're not. Yes, you are. You're above the LFR bracket, so maybe they count flex as 529 to above, to 540.
Yeah.
And then, so they'll say if you're 529, you'll get a normal piece of raiding gear.
Makes sense.
So, which would be cool, but that is leaps and bounds potentially. So again, don't hire me, Blizzard, now. Because obviously I.
And apparently, if you're a mythic raider, you get a mythic piece and 5,000 gold or some such number.
I thought you were going to say like a legendary. They just hand them out now.
There you go. There's another one. And another one.
Wow, Blizz. No, I don't think that's the case. But moving on from Garrison talk, Blizzard really wants to bring World of Warcraft into the eSports community, which I am very happy about this because I love watching and playing World of Warcraft PvP. What do you guys think of this? Are you guys into esports at all? Do you watch it? Would you care to watch it if it was more World of Warcraft?
I don't really watch esports. I'm not really that competitive, like, period, I guess. I don't really enjoy watching sports, even though I like doing athletic things. I do gymnastics and martial arts and tricking and parkour and all that kind of stuff. and I really enjoy it, but I don't like watching competitions. Um, and I'm kind of the same way with games. Like I always go towards co-op games. When it comes to shooters, I'd much rather do like a co-op campaign than do a deathmatch, and that's how I am with everything. So esports never really interested me all that much.
I have really enjoyed getting involved with esports, particularly. I mean, League of Legends. I won't talk about it because obviously this isn't to do with League of Legends, but League of Legends is massive esports wise on Twitch. They get like 171,000 views anytime they're broadcasting, even re-streams of old episodes. But in particular, StarCraft. There's a StarCraft stream like going on right now, which I'm sure has got thousands, and there's always so many events going on. And I think, in particular, the accessibility of esports, where you can literally just download things like Twitch and so on and so forth, and just watch it, and the team mentality that's come out of it. You know, effectively, esports embodies sports in every sense of the word. There's a lot of people who say esports isn't like real sports, but you look at the not just the prize money, but how the teams are structured, how people commentate on it. They talk about people's careers in esports if they, you know, as any other sportsman or woman would be. So, you know, I find it absolutely amazing. And these people, if you ever think you're good at a game, and I'm not trying to say this criticism, but if you ever think you're good at a game, watch the people doing the esports, and you will. I don't know how they do it. Their brains move 10 times faster than mine.
I thought I was pretty good at StarCraft until I, started watching the esports players, and then oh, I'm terrible.
I don't know why they have a screen sometimes. You can't see anything on that screen.
Yeah.
So it's just click macro, and you just don't know what's going on.
But with StarCraft, Blizzard already has like a foothold in the esports community because I mean, aside from League of Legends, StarCraft's probably the most popular esport right now, at least with the Asian markets. Like that one's very popular over there. It's a profession to say you play StarCraft professionally over there. Like that's awesome. And that was one of my favorite things about BlizzCon last year was being at the StarCraft tournament. It was a really cool environment, and and then now Blizzard's really enjoying the success that Hearthstone is having within the esports community. I don't think they even expected it to take off as much as it did. And so now they really want to bring this into World of Warcraft. And World of Warcraft's been really difficult. 3v3 arenas are kind of difficult to watch when you're trying to watch them in an esports fashion. But Blizzard is adding in a proper spectator mode come Warlords of Draenor, which I think will help a lot.
There are two things that spring to mind. Firstly, in relation to Blizzard's presence in esports, when DreamHack was on, was it the week before last?
Yeah.
You had all sorts going on there. You had League of Legends, you had StarCraft, you had Hearthstone, which was a massive push, and you had WoW. And WoW was, I'm not going to say neglected, but it clearly didn't have the biggest audience. It was very much in the background because it's being tried. It hasn't been tried and tested properly. And obviously a lot of people think World of Warcraft and they don't automatically think, arena esports sort of thing. Yeah. But in particular, in relation to a spectator mode, what I would like to see is this applied more rigorously in communities, not just big streaming events, but if I'm watching the Race to World first, I want to spectate that as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the real power of it, if you can market it as a spectating tool towards other gamers and do it that way, that would be massive in helping WoW come out as a more spectating game, I think.
I mean, and they already know, like, the live raid that happens every year at BlizzCon is one of the bigger events. Everybody, like, the crowd was full there watching that last year. And so that would be really cool if you could have, watch, like you said, watch the world's first race.
Griffin. I'm here with Polygon's resident spaceman, Charlie Hall.
There's audio coming from somewhere. I'm not sure where
that's probably me. It's all the text just working wrong.
But yeah, I mean, I'd really love to see WoW take off more in a esports fashion, but I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it. I mean, they're working on it now, but I'm not quite sure how they're going to change it. The competitive rating is cool. I'd like to see them more do competitive battlegrounds. I mean, rated battlegrounds are already a very popular thing amongst the PvP community. Let's see that become part of the tournaments. That'd be pretty cool.
What do you think, Zul? Do you think it's something you'd be interested in if WoW became a spectator event in any way?
I think it would be good for the game, and I do enjoy watching the live raids like you guys were talking about. But like I said, as far as competitions go, I wouldn't be particularly interested in watching myself. But like I said, I do think it would be great for the game. Just getting that more attention, hopefully get more people involved, and just get it out there more.
Definitely, definitely. Anything else on esports before we move on to the next topic? Anybody?
No.
Anybody? All right. Well, World of Warcraft subscription fees are going up in China. Why is this happening? Well, we will tell you.
Blizzard wants all our money.
Playing World of Warcraft is a little bit different in China, just because they have to pay, what is it, per like minute? Something like
Hour.
that? Per hour.
An hourly rate.
So that's going up now. Starting October 16th of this year from about $5 for 2,700 minutes. Interesting.
$5 to that's what 3,000. That's just under 5 hours, isn't it?
So my thought on this is, if they're raising the price for them, do you think they're going to raise the price on us? Thoughts?
Well, they've already raised it in the UK.
Yeah, that's what I was
Sorry,
say.
I was doing some
just
math,
did
and I
that,
don't think
like-
that's 5 hours. But sorry,
They just did that like a couple months ago, right? Or a month ago, something like that.
they raised
The UK.
generally everything by a pound. So
Yeah. Unless
Yeah.
you have a current subscription, and then you're locked in at that price for like a couple years still, right?
yes, if you've got a constantly renewed subscription, it will go for 2 years. But 2 years from now, you will end up paying more. But
Yeah.
when most people in the UK for a subscription are paying, say, $8.99 at most per month, because obviously it gets cheaper if you have the annual subscription per month. That's only an increase of, what's that, about 12%? I'm not great at math, clearly. But when you're looking at this in China, it's an increase of 45%. So in the US, what is the annual subscription?
$15 a month.
$15.
I don't know what the annual subscription. I haven't checked that price in a while.
So you're looking. Imagine for you guys if it went up to $22
Huh.
Ooh boy.
per month.
I think-
Exactly.
Do you think this is because of the subscriber loss?
I think it's just inflation. I mean, it's been at $15 a month since 2004 here.
True. But would you continue to play it if it was $22 a month?
Based
I
on
would
Tom's
still-
terrible financing, I think that's about right.
I
mean,
would still
probably
play
would.
it, but like, I would still play it, but I'd probably unsubscribe and then resubscribe more often. Like, if I knew I wasn't going to play as often, I would just unsubscribe. Whereas right now, I kind of just leave it subscribed because it's
Yeah.
not that much.
Or that might actually push people into considering, like, if they have a larger sum of money at one point, just, all right, I'm
Doing
purchasing
the
the
multi-month.
annual subscription
Yeah.
now. Then I don't have to worry about it for a while. And you get it cheaper ultimately. But yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure why Blizzard would be raising the prices like this.
I think really it's a combination of things, isn't it? I mean, Zul's definitely onto the point there that this
It's
hasn't,
inflation.
the prices haven't increased for ages, and Blizzard have talked about how they've had to get more staff and how the game's obviously become more expensive to run, and there's higher costs, and obviously they've got some big plans for the future.
It's obviously for
Oh.
WoW too. Come on.
It's for WoW too, but also, although I don't know if this is the case, but WoW is, if I'm right, the only game currently where Blizzard has a constant source of income after the game is purchased. You don't play for Diablo, you don't play for StarCraft, Diablo or StarCraft after you buy the game. Heroes of the Storm might change that with sort of paid for style characters and extras and things like that.
And they have
Hearthstone,
Yeah.
yeah, you pay for packs and things like that. But I think genuinely, you have to see WoW as Blizzard's biggest source of income, regular income, and
Mhm.
their costs across the board are going up. They're creating more IPs, more games. So the obvious response is to say, well, we need more money. We haven't charged more in quite a while. I'm not saying that they're doing this to get, to screw us over, but
Mhm.
still, I think, it's fair game really at the end of the day. It just, unfortunately, it looks like WoW players are getting a bit of the burden. But then you could never introduce a paid for model for Diablo or StarCraft. It would just kill them. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's 45%. I don't know why they hit China so bad though, because they are. It's big in China.
Yeah.
They're massive about it. And why, if you're trying to push for an esports style structure, why try and isolate people
Yeah.
in the Asian market?
Where like I gotta say that's probably where esports is the most popular. So if you're gonna
Mhm.
single them out with raising the price, I'm not really sure why. I mean, maybe they are at a loss. I mean, I haven't really done the math, but maybe they're actually losing money based on Chinese subscription rates as opposed to ours.
Hmm.
I mean, that
But
is a
also,
possibility.
there could be other pressures. I mean, China might have certain limitations on the game that cost more.
Hmm.
I mean, for example, you don't see corpses being in the game. They're replaced by gravestones. So you can imagine there's some sort of cultural,
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
not clashes,
Yeah,
but cultural differences.
they have to do a little bit more production. Like the Forsaken models can't have any bones showing.
Hmm.
Mm.
So they have to do more work to release it there. Not besides all the translations, obviously, the localization. They actually have to change some of the graphics and things like that. And then they have to run it through, the government, since they do censor a lot of stuff. They have to get it approved through the proper committees and all that kind of stuff. So it does take a little bit more to get it released there than in other countries it would.
And
Mhm.
what Wizaldo said in the chat room, that what Blizzard is doing with subs is going to make the game die out much quicker. Um, I could agree if they raise it too much.
Yeah.
That because if they did raise the price too high, I mean it may kill it in the Asian market with this, and if they raise it too high in the UK or the Americas, then yeah, they could definitely see subscriber losses, and so that's why we're all kind of puzzled with this. I mean, it's probably to fund their future projects, but I don't think they'd also want to kill off their big money grabber right now.
If only Titan was still here.
If only Titan. Titan is having fun in virtual heaven with StarCraft Ghost.
Oh.
And World of Warcraft Adventures.
World of Warcraft.
Or Warcraft Adventures, whatever it was.
But
Uh,
I guess just to kind of end the topic here, for
Yeah.
you guys in the States, where obviously you haven't been sort of hit by a raise, do you think if it were to go up, say, what's it, $15 now, say it was to go up to 18, 19, just under $20, how many people as a percentage do you think would sit there and go, okay, I'll play something else now?
well,
And I guess really I'm asking you, how big is price in the States?
I think if it was just a couple dollar increase like that, I think the majority of players would actually stay with the game. I
Yeah.
think there would be huge outcry on the forums, like there always is with change, and this would, be huge. Um, but I don't think it would kill it as much as like raising it to $25 a month.
Yeah. If it stayed under 20, I don't think you'd actually see too much come from it
Hmm.
besides the complaining.
Yeah. But
But yeah, I think people would still keep subscribing.
I think it would make it less appealing though to new subscribers as well because all the other MMOs with subscriptions are 15 a month in the US. So,
Yeah, so that might be part of it too, is just I wonder if other games would follow suit.
yeah, or they wouldn't to try and stay competitive against World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
So that could hurt them there as well.
It's an interesting point though, is that if you guys don't get a raise, what does that say to us? Like, for example,
Yeah,
if the UK gets
exactly.
hit with one, if they might say that, they might say the US doesn't need one, but then everyone might sit there and go, well, obviously you haven't got a good argument then. But anyways,
Yeah.
it's coming. It's coming.
That's going to be like the big announcement at BlizzCon, and subscription prices going up. What?
Chris Messin just walks up stage, does his whole like long speech about war and the Horde and
Alliance.
Alliance.
Horde.
Are you ready to have your subscriptions raised?
Everyone's like, wait, what?
We'll see. Only time will tell with this subject, obviously. But it's definitely an interesting discussion topic for sure. All right, so moving on, Blizzard talked about new mythic tiers will not be cross-realm to start with. I don't really see this as a surprise to anyone, being that heroic tiers in the past have not been cross-realm either. Except for Siege of Orgrimmar, but that's because it's been out for so long.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what they said.
So, yeah, I mean, anybody surprised by this news when it came out?
No.
Not really.
You know, and they even say that restriction will be removed after some time,
Mhm.
just like Siege was. You know, at first it will not be cross-realm.
Cross-realm. It will not be cross-realm.
Nope, definitely not.
Damn wabbit.
So at first it won't be, and then later on that will be removed.
Yeah. So yeah, exact quote from Ian Hazakosis: "New mythic tiers will not be cross-realm. That restriction will be removed after some time, likely when the next tier arrives," which is what we have been seeing in the past. And I mean that's good. It keeps it again like it's supposed. Mythic is supposed to reach that top 5% of WoW players at least when that tier first comes out. Really difficult. You obviously shouldn't be able to go cross-realm. It should be localized with your guild or local server players because you need to be close with these people. No pugs.
The one thing is that with the pre-expansion event, when Siege goes mythic, that will be cross-realm right away.
Right. Yeah, they're not going to take that away.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm so excited for 6.0 because we get this brand new raid that we've never seen before.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
We'll get onto that in a second. But saying that, I mean, how big do you think that the end of that announcement was that the mythic raiding is going to eventually, the tiers themselves, not mythic raiding in general, but as tiers sort of shut down, they'll become available to cross-realm mythic raiding. Do you think there's going to be a big enough market for that? I mean, how many people do you think are going to be really, completed? What's it going to be? Is it heroic at that level?
Yeah.
No, flex or yes, heroic. I don't know. Can't remember. My brain's fried. But
I don't know. Personally, I like it because with my new work schedule and stuff, I'm not gonna have time to be a mythic level raider at content.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna at least get through heroics pretty okay, I believe, once I find a guild.
it'll be easy.
But that'd be cool then to go back. I can at least have that accomplishment of seeing the mythic fights and doing those on still 20 man once it's past content. And it'll still be relatively difficult, like going back and doing Throne of Thunder heroic right now.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting model. Sorry.
I was say there's a lot of guilds that go back and do that higher level content after it's no longer the current content, or that they just take longer to get around to it, and by making them cross realm once they're no longer current, that means if you have some of your guild that want to do it, but not enough to have as many as you want, you can start having people in the guild pull in real life friends or whatever that are on other realms.
Do you think though that there's a danger in that if you've got a guild and it's trying to get into mythic, and say in this case mythic is just literally about to go cross realm, that the guild might sit there and go, well, maybe if we cut the slack and throw the 5 or 6 or 7 of us into cross realm and pick up 3 people who can pull their weight, then that'll be better for us. I mean, it just sounds like it's going to push still a little bit of that elitist approach, which isn't a bad thing, but still I worry that some people will struggle to keep up with their guilds and as a result might feel under pressure to step aside. And that's my worry. if anything?
I mean, I think it really needs to be pushed that the fact that Mythic is supposed to be the hardest content possible. So you have to be in a well-established guild, and you all have to be up to par with the content to do it. And I think that's what they're really trying to push. And they want like normal and heroic to still actually feel like normal and heroic. Like, don't think of it as like normal is now like a lesser difficult flex or something. It's just adding a harder difficulty for all those people who want a good world race and stuff like that. That's how I look at it. Also, to answer Wazaldo's question in the chat room again, 6.0 will implement all of the class changes.
Yes.
Yes. Woohoo!
Any more on this heated discussion of Mythic rating?
Bring it into LFR.
No! No!
Multi-man, Mythic rating.
No!
All random. All random. Let
Oh,
the fun
man.
ensue.
Oh man, we've got a Fury Warrior as a tank. What's happening?
Why does
I
that
would
Shadow
love to see
Priest
that.
think they can heal?
That would be a disaster, Tom. You cannot
It'd be
work for
amazing.
Blizzard.
It'd be amazing. Imagine if that was actually at Blizzard, where they just got 40 random players, like expert players, and just threw them into random classes and random
luck.
specs that you could change.
That would be interesting. If they implemented in LFR, you also get thrown into a random class.
You're all the same eye level.
Do it,
You've got
Blizzard.
37 elemental shaman.
I'm only just imagining the chaos that would come out of this.
Oh man, that's the
Just as
true
a-
test to see how good the elite players are. You must know every spec of every
Oh
class.
no, not even elite. Just everybody can queue. Anybody can queue for it, even the level 90 boosters. Yes, I want to play a class I've never played before in a difficult raid.
Oh
Let's do
boy.
And to top it off, if you could say free up 10 of those spaces to the wider servers, and imagine if you got like 5 people coming in and telling some of the top pros, oh my god, you can't play your class, what are you doing in here? And like pro players getting booted out of their LFRs and things like that. That'd just be so funny to watch. I'm a cruel person.
Okay. Another thing announced this week. Brawlers Guild Season 2. We talked about this a little bit last week, but now it's officially announced. So just a little thing from the Blizzard announcement. All Brawlers Guild achievements earned prior to patch 6.0.2 Season 1 will become legacy achievements. New achievements for Season 2 will take their place. So if you're grinding out Brawlers Guild Season 1, get that done quick, because I swear 6.0 is coming in like a week or two. So get that done. Rewards earned based on progression will remain available for purchase. The ring reward will be updated in patch 6.0.2 so that it will have valuable stats for all specializations. The next patch will introduce boss encounters that will adjust for level 100 members. Progression has been reverted back to 8 tiers. Bosses that are being removed from previous tiers will be added to the challenge card vendor and become available as you progress. All tiers have had their boss lineups remixed. For example, Bruce is now rank 5 boss instead of rank 1. So what do you
The
guys
main
think?
thing I found interesting is that it's still the same bosses. They're not making new encounters. It's still the same bosses. They've just been adjusted, for level 100, and they've been switched around on which rank, which tier they're in. Which means, the fights have been changed a little bit, but it's not. I was kind of expecting new bosses.
So
at
they're not
least
adding
some.
new ones at all.
That's what it sounds like. It's just that they're mixing it up. They're changing where they are, so their difficulties are changed a little bit.
Well, that's interesting. I also thought they would be adding new fights to Brawlers Guild.
Rehash!
Rehash! Blizzard, what's happening? Why?
They've hit the weekly rehash button. Maybe it's I don't know, maybe at the same time it's a test. And I'm gonna try and, back Blizzard out of this one, because I think maybe they're trying to test the waters, get people used to, it's a new game, it's a new system, lots of new changes. Maybe we need a little bit of familiarity. and maybe once the mechanics settle a little while, and maybe we don't know how Brawler's Guild's going to be dealt with in season 2. I mean, we talked about 2 weeks ago, that people didn't even know there was going to be a season 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think people were prepared in a way for things to stay relatively the same anyway. So I would say let it settle, and then once people have got used to how Brawler's Guild works at a
They may add in
6.0 world,
9 or 10, maybe.
you just skip all the others. Yeah, I guess so. Just go straight to 10, go straight to 11, spinal tap it.
I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of the Brawlers Guild. Got to rank 8 and then couldn't kill Hexos. Just hate him.
What do you guys think about the accessibility of Brawler's Guild? Because I've never really got involved with it.
Well,
So do you think this will help, giving it a bigger presence?
You still have to get that Brawlers Guild ticket or pass, I believe,
Yeah.
to get into
Which
it.
is-
So it can be rough to get that. You have to farm out for it, either gold and buy it on the black market auction house, or have a friend invite you, or one of the other ways to get it. Killing a boss or a world boss or rare spawn, something like that, I believe.
Yeah. I kind of just I wanted in, but I kind of didn't worry about it too much, and then eventually I just got it as a drop, and I was like, oh cool, okay, I can go do it now.
Yeah, I got mine
Instead
off
of
the
being
black
like, oh, I'm
market.
not in, I need to do something to get in. I just let it kind of happen when it happened, and I've had fun with it. Like, I'm a fan of it too. It's pretty fun to go in there and
Yeah, it's not something I
chill,
spend a lot of
do some fights.
time on, but it's just something fun to do. Test out your
Yeah.
DPS spec. It's a good way to practice for actual raiding too.
Yeah, usually when I go in, I'll do like 2 or 3, and then I'll go on and do something else.
And again, Brawler's Guild is going back to what we were talking earlier, has been something that people have wanted to see a spectate mode in, and a certain higher spec for those spectating modes. You'd want to see someone, a top end player go up against
To an
10
extent,
ranks.
there is a spectating mode for it already, though. You just go click on the orb
Just
and you have
Stand
it.
in there.
Oh right. Oh, fair enough. Shows how little knowledge I have. No ticket for me this time. I'll be sitting outside,
But
just
yeah,
like my BlizzCon hopes.
but it is
Aw.
kind of a bummer, for someone who has cleared through everything. That it's not really anything new. It's just a rehash, different order of content. So hoping to see new bosses added in one point or another.
I mean, yeah,
I'm
it's
sure.
one of those things that they can always throw in another boss or two each patch or whatever.
Of course. Well, it's probably going to be even easier now because Blizzard's always been talking about how they've got the team trained up and the content's ready to go. And I'm sure they wouldn't talk about the next expansion if they hadn't got all the content almost lined up for this one. So
Yeah.
I think we'll be surprised by how quickly things start changing.
All right. So anything else on the Brawlers Guild before we move on to our big discussion topic of the week?
Nope.
Nope. All right. So this week's discussion topic is old reputation still important in the modern era of World of Warcraft? With confirmation from Blizzard that the new 40-man Molten Core will give Hydraxian warlords reputation, it begs the question, is there any point to a reputation after its content becomes obsolete? And is there anything that could give us more value to players who invest their time into getting it? Good discussion topic here. Let's start with Jake. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I've never been one to really go through and be like, I need to get this reputation for whatever reason. The only time I've paid much attention to reputation has been in Miss, because like you have to get, Black Prince reputation, or on Timeless Isle you have to get the Emperor, what's his face reputation.
Xiao Hao.
Yeah. Or the dailies. You need to get reputation with this faction with their dailies to buy their gear. And it's always the idea of earning reputation works from like a role play story perspective. It's they're getting to trust me, they're getting to know me, they'll work with me more, they'll offer me better stuff. But in the game, it's just another bar to fill up.
Yeah.
And then, like this is kind of talking about once you've moved on past that content, the only reason to go back and do it is to get the achievements, for achievement hunters, or if you want their gear for transmog purposes.
You also have to
But
remember.
really, it's
Go on.
never been something I've worried about. It's just something that kind of happens as I play the game. I'm like, oh, cool, I got it, or oh, I didn't quite get it, and I move on.
There are also people who are mount farmers.
Yes, and
I still
another
have
thing.
yet to get my Netherwing Drake because I don't like those dailies at all. But still, you can go back and do those, get mounts for mount hunters, and
Mhm.
like you said, achievement hunters. I do have a fellow Warcraft player who has just God knows how many achievement points because he's gone back and gotten all of those reputations. He's done lore, whatever the achievement is, where you do every single quest in the game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I mean that there are those people who like to complete everything and get all the mounts, all the things. So there is that, but for people like us who don't spend, just countless amounts of time in WoW, I don't really see any point to going back and getting all of that reputation.
Yeah.
What about you, Tom?
I think a lot of the problems, I have to agree with both of you, and particularly Zul, where it's going to sound a bit hypocritical of me, but I have seen it as just an access to transmog items, and I've wanted them for that.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, it's a long bar to fill. I mean, just doing the Black Prince stuff, even if you're doing the Black Prince when the buff was around, it was a long slog, and we had to kind of really break the game. There were certain spots on the Isle of Thunder that you'd have endless spawning mobs, and you just AoE'd them, and that was you could easily get rep through that, but it was still a long bar. So what I'm trying to say is, even when exploiting rep gains, it still felt like a long, pointless to a many extent run. I think as well, the problem Blizzard has had with rep has been clear through the tabards that they've had to provide. So I think they've become rather aware themselves that people don't like hitting the same things over and over again. So you wear your tabards, you go into new dungeons, and you still get the rep.
Yeah.
But the problem is, as we've said, is that you get all this rep and it kind of becomes pointless because, as we've said, it's for stuff that generally becomes less shiny because there's always some cooler looking stuff in the next expansion. So the problem I've got is that going to Molten Core when it comes out is that I really hope there's something new with the Hydraxian Warlords that's worth getting the rep for, and more importantly, I want to see that replicated in all factions. I think personally, faction reps gains should either be pure vanity or should have something similar to how the heirloom gear works, something that at least levels with you or at least improves slightly. That would be nice.
See, I don't think Blizzard should really spend all that much time on their past rep. If people are going to go back and do that, then they're obviously hunting for something in the first place. So just let them do that. But I kind of like what they did with reputation in Mists of Pandaria. I mean, I know the first batch of dailies were such a grind, but you got a mount from every one of those rep vendors and other gear that could help you. So I'd like to see more transmog items like the Pandaren hat thing, like that, the monk hat. That was cool. And if they just continue with better stuff like that in the Warlords, and make it worth going back and doing later on if you never did it in the first place, that'd be cool.
But taking just for example, very quickly, Cloud Serpents. I never got my Cloud Serpent because it was such a long grind. And the thing is, Blizzard was so up and about saying, "Oh, you could get a Cloud Serpent. Look at the, it's really orient feeling to traveling in WoW." But I think you go to a lot of these cities, whether it's Stormwind or the temples and things like that, and you see all these players standing around, and there's very few of them with Cloud Serpents. And my curiosity is, how many of them choose not to have it because they've got a cool amount, or versus how many of them are like me and simply didn't get it because it was 6,000 rep too much to be bothered.
Well, Blizzard did something with the Timeless Isle that really helped out with that. You could find the Cloud Serpent eggs, and those would give you a huge boost in reputation towards getting that mount. So
That's true.
if they add stuff like that later on to you can go back and get it if you weren't farming it out in the first place. I think that's helpful. But at the same time, those are cool mounts. Those are mounts that you should, in my opinion anyway, you should have to work for them. So grinding out that rep for a couple of weeks and then getting the mount, it felt like I had actually accomplished something. I had worked towards something to get it.
What would you like to see though from the Hydraxian Warlords? If Blizzard were to put a few items in as a sort of celebratory 10th anniversary, what would you like to see? I personally would like to see something like a little thing you clicked on, and for 10 minutes your weapon looked like what was the legendary drop from Ragnaros? The weapon, the big mace thing.
I know what you're talking about. Sulfuron's Fury or something like that.
That's it. How cool would it be if you could just like make your weapons look like that for a couple of minutes or something like that? Something just fun.
Oh yeah.
But what would you like to see?
More train sets.
More train sets.
More toy train
Nice and
sets
simple.
to annoy people.
I think that's pretty much. I mean, that's what they should do with Rep. It should be like the toys and transmog mounts.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a long time to get Rep up. It really does.
I'd rather see a catch-up system for the rep once it becomes outdated.
Yeah, like once it's past content, increase its gain by
a lot,
however much percent.
You
Make
kill
it
one
faster.
mob and you're exalted.
I'd say like
And done.
a week's worth of doing it, I think, should get you to exalted, whereas now it's like several at current content.
So basically, if you do 7 days of doing the dailies for that, whatever the rep is, then that's it. You've got it.
I mean, it shouldn't be just one day of dailies and you're exalted. Like that's just too easy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think a week is about right. And of course, it doesn't have to be a consecutive week. You could just do a day here, a day there. Once you've done it for 7 days, then you've hit the cap. If it's past content.
That's a good shout.
Anything else on this topic before we move on?
I don't want to be hated by the Bloodsail Buccaneers anymore. I feel like I deserve a break.
Man, I went down to Booty Bay one day back in Cataclysm and just ran around in a circle for hours, killing everyone. Because I wanted to be a Bloodsail Buccaneer.
That's why you don't play video games, kids.
I mean, and I barely made a dent in that reputation. Like trying to get
insane,
like the insane title. Like you have to be insane to get that, and I still like that. You have to put an insane amount of time to get that title, and I'm okay with that. Like having those rare things that you spend hours and hours and hours killing level 50 mobs.
You have to spend 50 days killing boars.
Oh man, it can feel like that.
Live to win.
Feel like that.
Live to win.
Live to win. Hashtag live to win.
I kid you not. Me and my friend, when we were doing that Booty Bay thing, had that song on repeat.
It's a great song. I listened to it, and even without the episode playing, it's a great tune.
Yep. Makes you feel like you're accomplishing something. Switching between that and Electric Avenue for some reason. Yeah. All right. So moving on. Any last comments about rep?
Nope.
All right. So this week's Warlords of Draenor, we're all Lord out.
Too much lore.
Too much lore. We just kind of came to a point where we're not sure who we were going to talk about this week. So next week we will definitely have a Warlords discussion about Blackhand, since he is, the big boss of the first tier. So come back next week if you want to learn about him. But we'll move on to our weekly segment called The Prince's Gaze, where we look to the community of World of Warcraft. And this week we're going to be talking about casual WoW. Who would like to take this discussion away? Let's give it to you, Tom.
Well, what can I say? Casual WoW. He, you can find him on Twitter at Casual WoW. That's pretty simple, unlike me, where I just make things incredibly difficult. But he's a guy who makes World of Warcraft-based videos, and it's very difficult to explain because I thought he made the video we've got is a spoof advert for WoW, which is really funny. But I guess comical videos about WoW. There's a great one about who's the Black Dragon on Timeless Isle? N begins with an N. I've forgotten it. I can't remember, but I'm thinking Nourished, but it's not him, obviously. But yeah, basically just check out his videos because they are very, very, very funny.
And we'll play one for you right now.
In 2004, a revolution began. A game that would change the life of millions forever. And ruin your social life. World of Warcraft. It's not too late for you to join. Become a hero of Azeroth. Explore a vast world. And embark on epic adventures. Yeah. Face terrible enemies in extremely difficult dungeons.
A lot of you will soon wish you hadn't come this way.
Okay. Fight other players in an extremely balanced PvP system. Join random battlegrounds and arenas where everyone knows what they're doing. And world PvP.
Hello? Hello? I'm ready to fight.
Awesome character progression that also includes doing the same thing over and over and over again. And professions. Exciting. Stand around your capital city waiting for queues to pop, showing off your mounts, getting haircuts, watching little kids run around, and dancing.
Ow! Ow!
What are you waiting for? Join now and start crying on the forums because your class got nerfed. Play an overpowered class and think you're better than everyone else because you hit one button. Cry again when that same class gets nerfed. And much, much more. World of Warcraft. Never get laid again. Who we kidding? We love this game.
And that last point he makes, who are we kidding? We love this game. That just describes World of Warcraft in a nutshell.
Because we're all more than aware of the things that he pointed out. You know,
Yeah.
obviously.
So he isn't getting a job at Blizzard. Oh, he is.
But yes, do be sure to check him out at Casual WoW on YouTube or at Casual WoW on Twitter. Great videos he has.
And if I can just clarify, his YouTube channel, it's World of Warcraft comedy, discussions, machinima, gameplay, and more. Just relax and enjoy. Sorry, I didn't sell it very well before then, but no, thanks, Casual. It was great for you to get in touch.
Good stuff. Definitely like that. So we're to our final segment of the show already. Man, this time flies very fast. We're at Hero's Call, where we give out our shout-outs to anybody in the community. And we'll start with you, Tom. Have any shout-outs?
I would like to give a shout-out to... I can only think of one at the moment, and that's someone on Twitter who goes by the name The Lano Lion. I put a question out last night about what characters we're going to be taken into Warlords, and you know how excited we are and things like that. And I'm guessing by the character profile picture, said, I'm totally shaking things up, insert sarcasm here, and taking my holy prop Pally. So someone's going to definitely be in dungeons a lot. It was good, but no, that's about me.
What about you, Jake?
I don't have any particular shout-outs this week. So yeah.
Shout out to us.
Yep. Mine was also going to be Casual WoW, so shout out to him again, just for contacting us on Twitter. Definitely have a good thing going over there, so it was good to get in touch with you. But yeah, he was going to be my shout out anyway, so shout out to you again. And of course, again, like I always do every week, shout out to everybody who tunes in on a weekly basis to our podcast on Twitter or wherever else it can be found. You know what? I'll tell you where else it can be found. Our show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Twitch. We're no longer coming to Hitbox.
Well, we might.
We might.
It was a lot more work than I planned, and I'd be very busy.
We may be
Well.
coming to Hitbox sometime.
We're happy where we are now.
Yes.
We'll let you know
change
when
is
it
bad.
happens instead of just saying soon every week.
Nobody likes change. We're a World of Warcraft community.
No. Vanilla servers for everyone.
Yes. And you can find us at Geeks of Azeroth on Twitter. You can find me personally at Tarly_pause with a Z. Where about you, Zool? Where can we find you?
At Zulgeek on Twitter.
And Tom, let's hear your confusing one as well.
I am at TC McIlroy, and I will say that I will tell people when I've changed. It's a hope and a dream, but until now it's not changed.
You can always also contact the show at geeksofazeroteg@gmail.com with any questions, shout out, messages, problems. If you hate us, just throw your hate that way for some reason. We'll be sure to read it out loud on the show.
If you hate the show and you stuck around to hear the email, then that's an interesting one.
Be sure to send us your hate. And remember to go to epicgeeks.co.uk, where you can find this show as well as other shows and Let's Plays. Several of us were at EGX Res in London. We have plenty of coverage of that. If you head over to that website, definitely check us out. But for more Geeks of Azeroth, stay here. Regular time next week for more Geeks of Azeroth. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week in Azeroth.